What's good, y'all? It's your boy J.Brock. It's Clapitup LA. I'm right here with Chrisstymac, y'all. I finally made it to Chrisstymac, y'all. She is a photographer. She has experience managing. She has experience being an A&R. She's worked with Cypress Marino, Catch 22. Chris, man, y'all make sure y'all stay tuned with Chrisstymac. She doing big things in the music industry. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm blessed. I'm happy to be sitting down with you.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, look, I'm excited to be getting to this good game. I got the first interview with her, the first legit official. So you know we about to chop a lot, y'all. So growing up, Chrisstymac, where did you grow up at?
So born and raised in Montebello.
Okay.
So like more East LA. But I went to school in Downey my whole life in the Southeast, and then every day after school for like a good 12, 13 years, I'd be in K-Town, in Koreatown, every single day. So it really depends. I grew up in, yes, East LA, but Downey, Koreatown, and then every weekend since I was a kid, I'd be in Gardena for church.
Right, yeah.
So really just everywhere.
So what is it like being in Koreatown? Like what are some of the things that you had to do being somewhere for 13 years straight? I would imagine you had to have fun some type of way. So what was you up in Koreatown doing?
Honestly, the reason I'd be in Koreatown, I mean, my pops would try to get me to stay out of trouble, so he would try to put me in these after-school programs in Koreatown, like these Korean programs, but I mean, sometimes I'd ditch. Oh, sorry, Mom.
She said I'll ditch it. I was afraid to ditch when I was a kid.
That's good, though.
Yeah, I was hella afraid. So what about friends? You know what I'm saying? What type of friends did you make even at these after school? You had to ditch with somebody. I know you, but did you ditching by yourself?
Hell no.
Oh,
Sometimes I'd like be the only Korean kid like down to ditch, so I'd have like some other homies pick me up from where I was at, or like
she's an OG. She was calling shots. People picking you up. I mean, goodness gracious. She said I gotta get. What made you want to get away though? Like what made you want to ditch?
I just didn't like school.
Okay.
I mean, obviously it was like some aspect of some learning that I really enjoyed, but being in that after school like facility and that kind of atmosphere, it was like very high stress. It was a lot of pressure all the time, so I just didn't want to be around that.
Okay.
Didn't want to be, you know, submerged in that. So I just wanted to get out.
I feel you. Now, growing up as a kid, what is it that you imagined that you would be doing in your adult years?
Shit, not what I'm doing now, for sure. Honestly, thought I would go to a 4-year university, get my degree in something. When I went to college, I was studying social studies.
Okay.
That was really like where my heart was at, just like being a Korean kid from LA, being too American for the Koreans, you know.
Oh wow, okay.
Like
I never heard you being too American. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So that was that a battle that you would have to fight throughout your childhood?
for sure. Because I was too American for the Koreans, but too Korean for the Americans.
Okay, so what makes someone too American for their people?
Just not being like submerged in the Korean culture.
Okay.
I was always like heavily in the Korean culture just because I was raised by my grandparents, and I knew how to speak the language, read the language. Like I knew what the fuck was going on. I just like I didn't grow up in Koreatown, like go to school every day in Koreatown, you know? Right. So like where I went to school with nothing but like Mexicans, white folk, like few black kids. Like I had no Koreans around me at all, except for when I went to Koreatown every day after school. But like a Korean student's life, like during school and after school, is like not the same thing.
Okay.
And so I feel like I was missing out a lot, not going to school in Koreatown. I was missing a lot of the culture, you know?
Oh, okay, okay. So do you think if you just went to school in Koreatown, you would have been more...
I feel like I would have been fully summer, like I wouldn't be anywhere else but Koreatown.
And do you think that would have been a disadvantage?
Yes.
Okay.
I feel like a big advantage of who I am, like I really have been everywhere, and I've met people from everywhere. A lot of people that do different things, you know. Like I wasn't always just going to these Korean after school like extracurricular activities, you know. Yeah, I feel like because I am from East LA, went to school in Downey, I was in Koreatown after school, South Bay on the weekends. Because of that, I feel like I'm able to be who I am today.
Yeah, that just shaped and molded and built you to what you're supposed to be.
For sure. Because I feel like I never felt like I belonged anywhere that I was from. Like where I'm from, where I went to school, I'm not from that area, you know? And so when I was at school, you know, pretty much everyone's from that area, you know, when they're going to school.
Right, facts.
Everyone was from that area but me,
Right,
you know?
right.
After school programs in K-Town, like everyone was from K-Town, not me though, you know? Everybody in Gardena, they was from Gardena, North Torrance, Redondo Beach. I was sure as hell wasn't from there, you know? I was always far from where I stayed, like no matter where I was. Like never hung out in East LA, never hung out in Montebello, none of that shit.
Did you feel lonely because of that?
Of course.
Okay.
Yes.
How did you deal with the loneliness? Like, were you able to talk to anyone about that? Because, you know, a lot of the time coming up, we feel like we can't talk. You know what I'm saying? I can't tell you how I feel because you might judge me, or I don't want to seem too weak. So do you feel like you were able to talk about that loneliness?
I don't feel like I was able to talk about it much because no one really understood me. It wasn't just that I was like, you know, growing up in different areas. It was like, also I'm Korean American. Like I don't really see any Korean Americans, like especially as I'm growing up. Like I didn't see anybody like me that was doing what I was doing, or like, you know, everywhere that I was. And so I never really could find anybody that fully relates to me. And so I would just go where I'm accepted, honestly, go where I'm loved. Like, it was few people that would fully accept me, you know, because a lot of people don't know how to accept something like that, you know? So, like, accepting someone that's not like them, or not from where they're from, they don't know how to navigate through that kind of situation. But
and I could imagine that maybe you face some stereotypes as well. You know, people might get in your presence and think that you're a certain way, and they realize, well, she's nothing
especially
like
because
that.
I'm the type of person, I'm more reserved until you have a conversation with me, and then I'll get to talking my shit when I'm comfortable with you. You
Understood,
know?
Yeah.
But a lot of people thought they could like try me, or you know, even do small shit like tease me or make fun of me, not realizing I be talking my fucking shit. Like,
right.
Yeah, people have been trying me.
Did any of that get under your skin?
Of course, when I was younger, but.
So how did you learn to not allow that to bother you so much?
Shit, that was probably one of the hardest things, like, about growing up, because my fuse is so fucking short. Like, still to this day, I have a really short temper, but it's all about what's worth it and what's not.
Facts.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of like inner work, and growing up I had to do, still have to do to this day to work on my temper.
Yeah, we all do. That's understood.
It's all about picking and fighting.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What battle is worth it and what isn't.
Right.
Because sometimes it's a matter of life and death, you know?
Facts. Yeah.
You just have to be smart.
Yeah.
Especially when like you're a kid like me, where you're not just in one area, like you're constantly moving around all areas. Like I always had to be careful. I had to teach myself that shit, you know?
So you, how many languages do you know?
I speak 2 languages.
Okay, how long did it take you? What was the first language you actually spoke?
Korean.
Okay, so how long did it take you to?
Actually, I was speaking Korean as a kid. I was raised by my grandparents, so the primary language at home was Korean. Had to learn English. I mean, all my older cousins spoke English, so you know, just riding around with them, learn English with them.
So you just learned it on the fly?
Yeah.
See, I don't see how people do that. My guy Emmanuel Richie, he was talking about how he just learned these languages by just being around. But for you to pick up the entire language, I don't get it.
Well, Korean was all like I knew.
Yeah.
Growing up with my grandparents, like that's all I knew.
Right.
English I had to learn. Like my grandparents started to get me accustomed to speaking more English before I started school in Downey as a kid. So, I mean, I started speaking English. I spoke Spanish for like a very short time in my life when I was a kid, like a time where I don't even remember. But
why did you speak Spanish though?
Because we. So my parents, my whole family, we own like a denim factory, a couple denim factories in Vernon. And like my family just always spoke Spanish, like working with who they work with.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, and so I guess I picked it up as a kid. I don't remember this shit, but they'll still talk about it to this day about how it was fluent in Spanish.
I'm sure you remember some words.
I do.
You know how to, So when you think about the way that you ended up, because you built yourself pretty much, you had to shape and mold, you had to adapt. When you think about that, how happy are you that you did have to go so many different ways and you did experience so many different things?
I mean, now that I'm standing where I stand now, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. I wouldn't have it any other way. When I was a kid, it was very fucking hard. It was like, man, like I remember wanting to I used to try to convince my pops, like, let me go to this school and let me stay there in that area. Like I'm not trying to go here, there, everywhere, like all in one day. Like let me just go one place, make my friends, graduate from there, and then move on. Like it was really hard as a kid, being everywhere all the time. And I remember I have an older cousin. He would always like be like, man, you and your sisters, like y'all be everywhere. Like that's not good.
You know what? But see, I got friends that went to school here one year, then moved over there, went to school over there. But they're like, they know everybody everywhere. I'm like, it's nobody that you don't know. So, I see the plus in that. Because there's nowhere you can't go where somebody you don't know. Right. And I never really understood that, but I went to one school. So I'm like, damn, I probably would have liked going to 2 different middle schools.
It was very exhausting as a kid, just because, like, when you're still trying to figure out who you are, or even like the most simple shit, like what you like or what you're trying to be about, is very hard, very chaotic. And, you have to find a way to eliminate the things you need to eliminate, or magnify the shit you need magnified in your life, But I guess it ends up being a plus at the end of the day.
Well, and I can also understand just from the TV shows, even the movies, where the kids all of a sudden have to move and they're like, dang, my friends. Like, what about my friends? I'm going to miss my friends. So I can understand the challenge in that, but ultimately, sometimes we just don't have no control of that.
Yeah.
So as a kid, you begin to take pictures, begin to take pictures around the house and things like that. What was it that fascinated you about taking these pictures, and what type of camera? Because we didn't have iPhones. You know what I'm saying? What type of cameras were you using back then?
So when I was a kid, my pops used to have like random just point and shoot cameras lying around the house. You have to put the film in, and then you open.
Old school.
Yeah, you slide open the thing that covers the lens, and I would just like take him from his room, from his little drawer. And I would just snap pictures of everything and nothing, just like anything.
Yeah.
And I would ask him like, Pops, can you get this can you get this film developed? And you'd be like, okay, what did you take pictures of? I'll be like, I don't know. And he would get mad at me every single time the photos came back because it was literally like pictures of the wall or pictures of the grass.
What? That's similar to how babies do now with the iPhone.
Yeah.
They be having all kind of selfies with the top of their head showing, the TV here, like
all close right here. Yeah, I would take selfies too. I would take a selfie of me, of him.
Yeah.
But that's really how I started. I just loved, I think, the process and the idea of like pausing a moment in time and like having that to look at later.
I understand that. And you know, that you know, back then I'd be looking at the pictures, the old school pictures where they just gotta take the picture and however it come out, You know,
That's
see,
how
like
it
back
is.
then we don't like that picture, let's delete it and try it again. Like they can't do that back then. So you just kind of had to be stuck with whatever the hell they came out. You had to be happy with it. So okay, you're taking pictures around the house. As you get older, eventually you get an opportunity to shoot at a wedding. So how was getting that opportunity, and how did you feel when they asked you to do it?
So I shot my first official wedding at 16, which is like fucking crazy because what sane couple is gonna trust a 16-year-old with their fucking wedding photo?
Facts.
But they had enough faith in me. Like they always fucked with my pictures. Like when I was taking pictures around church or just random shit. So I shot my first wedding at 16, and then after that I just started shooting like a lot of weddings and a lot of engagement shoots, a lot of bridal shoots and showers and shit.
Okay, now you shot pictures at church. Now how were you able to take pictures at church?
What do you mean?
Like, who gave you permission to take pictures at the church?
So my dad was the minister.
Okay.
And so like, man, there was nobody really at church taking pictures, like no designated photographer or nothing. So at that point I had bought my first DSLR, like my first official camera. I would take that shit everywhere with me, you know?
Okay, yeah.
So I would just literally take pictures of random people at church, like my dad's friends or my mom and her friends, the kids, and they love that shit. So
because they always have that memory. So were you nervous when it was wedding day and it's time for you to go ahead and go behind that camera and do what you've been doing? Were you nervous about that?
Honestly, no, just because I was so good at what I do. Like I was not nervous at all. It was just like another day. Yeah, that confidence that came with the camera for me, like I was just fucking good at what I did. And so, I mean, when other people trust you to do those things for them when you're so young, like that took my confidence level up like 10 times higher, you know?
I feel that.
Yeah.
So after that, you get into shooting more events. What type of event do you enjoy shooting the most?
Shit.
At least at that point.
At that point?
Yeah.
Honestly, at that point, I got over shooting the weddings. Like
really?
I was making a lot of my money through shooting these weddings, but it's just like, yeah, I love shooting people in their element when they're happy and like around people that they love, but it was just like it getting old real quick.
Okay,
like I can shoot other shit real fucking quick. I was shooting like a lot. So we have like at school we had like a praise worship team, and then at church we also have a praise and worship team. So if I wasn't like playing guitar or leading worship, I would be taking pictures of the team.
Wait, you play guitar too?
Yeah, I played guitar, piano, sometimes drums.
Oh, well, she's what you call a musician. I almost called her a musician. So you're a musician. Okay, so when was the first time you picked up an instrument and started to do your thing?
Like 4 or 5 years old, I was playing the piano. But also I never really had the patience for a teacher.
Okay.
I don't know if it was my ADHD or what. I just didn't have patience, like, for none of that. So I ended up teaching myself most of these instruments, all of these instruments.
What song were you trying to play on the piano? Because, you know, we always get on the piano, even if we don't know how to play it, there's a song we try to play.
I was always playing like the piano warm-up. So I would get these piano books through the piano teacher that my pops had hired to teach me, but ended up firing her. I still had these books at my house, and so I would just...
You fired the piano teacher?
My pops did, because I was just not having it. Like, he was, his patience was running thin. Like, I would never practice what they would want me to practice. I would always just be practicing some other bullshit. Like, finding another song that's popular, like a Britney Spears song or some shit, like, and trying to learn that shit, you know? But I would be practicing, like, just like the basics and I was really trying to learn and get familiar with the basics before trying to learn any song, because that's what I wanted to know. Like, I needed to know everything from the basic, from bottom up. I didn't want to just jump into shit and not know the basics of what the fuck I'm learning, you know? It just felt really backwards to me.
Well, that's the right way to do it. You know what I'm saying? And ultimately, everybody has their own way of learning. Maybe somebody else can learn just straight from a song, but your way is starting from scratch, which is perfectly fine. I played the drums in front of my church for probably like 2 months.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was kind of nervous when I first did it, but I always wanted to play the drums as a kid. So it was like finally, like, you know, I finally get to do it. So when you are at church, you know what I'm saying, going from the instruments, going to the photography, do you feel like you ever missed the instruments at all?
For sure. I mean, at the end of the day, I would come home, play the piano. I would go to church like basically my whole life up until college. So I'd play at church while people are eating their lunch or right before people start coming to eat their lunch. I'd always just try to find a time and a space to be able to play something. Okay. Like, I just love playing the piano, and then after the piano, I fucking love playing the guitar. Like, I just love that shit. So I always had to find a way to come back to music. Gotcha. So that started early for you. Now, do you feel like, you know, because typically you see somebody in a movie, right? They had a hard day. They got to go to the piano and they get to just hitting the strings and doing all the movements. Do you feel like you used it for that too? Just to kind of release your frustration? For sure. For sure. I have an older sister. She be writing and producing all of her own music. And so she would sing, I'd be on the keys, and I have a younger sister who also plays piano too. Like, for me and all my siblings, we're a huge music family for sure. And I feel like with all of us, like, that was definitely a stress reliever. Gotcha. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay, so with the photographies, you're tired of the weddings now. You get in the bridal showers, and what other type of events did you start to I started shooting a lot of shows, like music shows, hip hop shows, pop shows. Yeah. And once you started doing that, you feel like that was more so what you wanted to do? At the time, yes. I mean, music was always going to be part of my day, every day, whether it's I start with it or whether I end with it. Whether it's something I do professionally or it's something I do for myself for 5 minutes of the day, you know? So music was always gonna be part of my life, but yeah, like shooting and being in that kind of environment, like at shows, like that was a different, that was for sure a different feeling than shooting weddings, you know? So, I mean, I could imagine. Yeah, way different energy. You know, wedding can be kind of slow. It's all about emotions, and you know what I'm saying. So I could imagine that. So you get an opportunity with Diane and Leslie, who started the Suspend magazine. Now, what was it like when they approached you about shooting for them, or how did that come about? Well, I just went to visit Diane. So Diane and Leslie, they started Suspend, and I had a friend at the time who had introduced me to them at a party, and they just like told me, you know what, like come by, we're doing this shoot. I forget what exactly it was, but I just went. And I was helping them out, and then I forget what even was the first show that I shot for Suspend, or what it was the first time I shot for them, but that's how I met a lot of the artists that I'm working with today. Yeah.
Networking and being around. And you spoke of not even thinking that it would take you there. You know what I'm
hell
saying?
no.
Kind of like, you know, but when you start to meet these artists, at some point did you feel like this is really getting real? You know, like this is really something that I can see myself being big at.
For sure, for sure. It was when I had, well, even, so I met AZ Chike, and after meeting Chike, I started shooting him and like Ruchi and One Take J at their, like their string of the winning team shows that they were having years back. And I would post those pictures, and Vic hit me up, Rosecrans Vic, was like, hey, Rosecrans Avenue, we don't usually do this, but I really like your photos, and I feel like you're already really plugged in. Like this, you wouldn't be on no weird cloud chasing shit. Like, do you want to join the team? And I was like, shit, why not? You know, fuck it. So that's how I joined the Rosecrans Avenue team. Started off as a photographer, and then Vic brought me on as a co-host for the podcast. And really, like, over the next couple of years, I built a lot of relationships through Rosecrans Avenue, and through meeting everybody, like interviewing them, taking photos of them. I did a lot of the groundwork right there for what I'm doing right now. Just building relationships.
Were you ever starstruck meeting someone?
No. Because everybody is just a human fucking being, you know? Like, I never wanted to bring anybody with me to these jobs if I knew they were gonna freak out. Like, I didn't respect none of that. I was very selective about who I bring around to work shit.
Well, that's good, because you should be like that anyway. Just because you don't
everybody's
want to be
a human being. Like, I don't.
And that's what you realize at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say starstruck, but I'd be like, man, you know, like, because it's kind of, I say like social media is TV now. So after you just see these people all on social media all the time, and when you finally see them, it's like, damn, you realize like, damn, you are just human. Like, you know what I'm saying? But it's amazing to experience. So with you being a co-host with Rosecrans Avenue, what were some of the things that you enjoyed about interviewing people?
Shit. Putting a personality to the faces. Because when you're interviewing them, even when I was just shooting them, like building relationships through photo shoots and shit, like you really get to learn about these certain artists, you know, on a personal level. That shit really either made me respect them or look at them like, okay, really they ain't shit, but at least they're doing shit for themselves, you know?
Well, like one of the things I can say like about these interviews that I really like, I don't know if I can say amaze me, but it's just kind of like the things that people come on here and say. You know, you don't know what somebody's going through.
Yeah.
You don't know what they've been through. You know, I've got people on here to talk about how they were homeless, lost everything. And it's like, dang, for real, you lost everything? You know, but when I look on social media, it look like you just happy all the time. You know what I'm saying? So I really enjoyed that. Now, through Rosecrans Vic, you meet Cypress Marino. Shout out Cypress, shout out Catch 22. Oh, and by the way, we right here at the 408 Studios. Before I forget, if y'all want to shoot some videos, y'all want to have a photo shoot, make sure you contact 408 Studios. They got you. So when you finally meet up with Cypress, how did that relationship develop, and what are some of the things you guys started to work with doing?
So the first time I met Cypress, I shot him at a show. I forget what show it was, but I shot him at a show. And then he called me back a couple times after that to shoot for him. So I would shoot for him, and then we developed a relationship outside of the photos, just through music and like knowing the same people that we know. And then I just became more heavily involved with him and Vic's like management team.
And that's also the beautiful thing I would like to say about this process is the people that you meet, the relationships you build. You know what I'm saying? So you meet Chris. Shout out Chris Muniz. You meet Chris, and Chris is a really cool guy. You know what I'm saying? Chris is hella cool. Like, I met Chris when I first interviewed Cypress. Chris pulled up. We instantly had a great conversation. And so when you get with Chris, what are some of the things that Chris began to influence you to do in order to help you bring more value?
Well, as I got more involved with Cypress and Vic's management team, I started to help Chris like associate manage his clients. So like Cypress, FIFA, sometimes Vic, and never thought, I'd be associate manager of a fucking squad, but
okay. So what is it? What does a associate manager have? What are those duties?
It's really just an extension of the manager, just helping the manager manage the team.
Okay, so did you enjoy being an associate manager?
I did.
Okay.
I feel like I'm good at it. Yeah, I feel like I'm really good at it. And the artists that I was helping Chris associate manage, like I had relationships with all of them, and so it just felt like an investment at the end of the day. Like I really respected everybody I was working with, loved the fuck out of all of them, and so it was just a natural extension of my love, I guess you can say. Like I believed in all of them, and so it was really easy to do my job.
Got you. Now, at the same time as you are associate manager, are you still going out and shooting shows and
Yes.
having your photo
Yes.
shoots? Okay.
Yes.
Did you ever have any like overwhelming feeling because you got to manage, but you still got to do your photo shoots? Like, did it ever get too tight for you at a point?
I don't think so. I feel like there were isolated moments of being a photographer and being an artist manager and being an associate manager where I felt overwhelmed, but never because, I have to balance this one and that one. And, I felt like, I don't know, it was just really easy. It was easy for me to be a photographer and take photos when I'm in like a managing like setting. Gotcha. Because those relationships were already built, and it's like those artists trust me to take photos of them, So
do you have to edit the photos that you take?
If I'm shooting digital, yes.
So what is that process like, and how long does that take? Because you got video editing where you got to cut stuff, which probably might be a little more simple. Well, at least the way I do it. But as a photographer, how much time do you have to put in the editing?
I really don't like to put too much time in the editing, like the lighting and shit. I don't really fuck with lighting unless it's like an editorial, like in a studio, like a photo studio setting. But when I'm like shooting shows and stuff, like I try not to edit the colors too much because I want it like as real and as raw as I can. I'll just enhance it a little bit. Yeah. Got
you. All right, so through the associate managing and kicking it with Chris, you show Chris a Blue Bucks Clan video. And Chris instantly told you, maybe you should manage them. So when you heard that, what were you instantly thinking? Like,
I was like, wait, me?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Me manage?
Yeah.
I was like, what? No, that don't even make no sense. Like, I'd never managed an artist before in my life. And that's too much fucking pressure. Like, I was looking at him like, huh? No. Like,
okay, I mean, but what does it entail? You know, you're being an associate manager, so I mean, you're doing so much.
I think it was just more of like the pressure more than anything that I didn't want on my shoulders.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you reach out, when you finally come to copes with it and just say, all right, I'm gonna do it. And how did the conversation go when you reached out to Blue Bucks? And
so the first time I met with them, I think it was in the studio. It was in the studio. And I just brought my fucking camera with me. And I was shooting them, their recording process. And we just got to talking in the studio. And they really needed someone to connect them to different people. And I feel like that was the only thing that they were missing, you know, people to connect them to other things. And to really translate that homegrown love that they were getting into the industry. Yeah.
And when you started to do that, and see, because you know Blue Bucks is blown up, you know, and see the different things unfold, how much fun did you have, you know, doing that with them?
So much fun. I mean, DJ, Jeezy, and Neezy, they're all good peoples. It was easy as fuck being around them and working with them. Yeah.
I feel that, man. If y'all know nothing about Blue Bucks Clan, you gotta be living under a rock. That's all I'm gonna say. So you also did some A&R work for Catch 22.
Yeah.
And you know, I feel like this is something that I think I want to get into, the A&R work.
Okay.
And the thing I'm afraid of is the misses, because you're gonna hit or miss.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, sometimes. So what are some of the things that you have to consider, and how much time do you take when you are evaluating someone to be like, look, you need to check them out?
I feel like the basis for any like title that I've occupied doing what I do, I feel like the basis for any of those titles was really relationship building.
Gotcha.
People aren't going to trust you out here with their life's work if they don't have a relationship with you, if they don't know who you are and how you move.
Correct.
I feel like relationship building and being consistent with those relationships, always tapping in and having a good head on your shoulders, really. Like, you can do anything with those three right there.
Yeah, facts. That's true. As long as people know that you know, are truthful, you know what I'm saying, and you have integrity and things like that. So how important do you feel it is to make sure because in this industry, we go through a lot of things, we deal with a lot of people, a lot of different attitudes, things might happen we don't like. How important do you think it is for someone to keep their emotions in check, especially in this industry?
Super important. I feel like that's something I'm still learning to do right now. Takes a lot of discipline, takes a lot of practice. I feel like I tell this to everybody. Everything takes practice.
Facts. Yeah.
Like, relationship building takes practice. It took a lot of practice for me because I'm honestly an introvert. It's hard for me to like be out hours at a time in crowded spaces, like trying to keep the conversation going, you know? But yeah, I feel like I forgot the fucking question.
No, it's cool. We just talking about keeping our emotions in check.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
Yes, for sure. I mean, I'm still learning to do that now, but I don't think I'd be able to learn this shit or catch on this quick without the people that are on my team. Like, Chris is always like, he'll be the first person to tell me, you need to keep your emotions out of it. Man. Yeah. You need to, you know, this is about something bigger than your emotions. You know, regardless of what it's about, you got to keep your emotions out of it. Great dude. It's all business.
Great. Yeah, Chris is full of game. You know what I'm saying? You meet Chris, man, Chris gonna put you on game if you listen. You just got to pay attention. Now, I can speak, you know, for that for myself, because the thing is, when we tell ourselves we got to work on our emotions, we got to understand that things are still going to come. You know what I'm saying? In the middle of you practicing, but that's how you know you're getting better, because you're still going to be faced with those moments where it's like, you're testing me, like, like, you know what I'm saying? But that's how you know that you overcome, you know what I'm saying, that you've grown. So do you think that there was a moment that you experienced that you had to just tell yourself, you have to let go. You know what I'm saying? We have to grow. Right here, we gotta grow. It hurt, but we gotta grow, and we gotta just accept it.
It's been multiple moments of my career working in this industry. I feel like it's really hard. I'm mainly working with men. You know, it's hard being a woman in any industry that you're working in.
Yeah, facts.
And so I feel like being a woman, like, people are going to be 10 times harder on you, 10 times less patient with you, 10 times less forgiving, you know. And so I had to get on my shit quick. Yeah, and I feel like it was some moments of my career where I should have given myself more credit, but because the environment is so, like, harsh, I just had to keep it going.
You said harsh.
Yeah.
Sheesh, yeah.
It's hard. That's why it's important to have a good team.
Facts.
And what comes with a good team is the support.
Yeah.
You know, you need people on your team that are gonna prioritize you as a woman in their team. You know, prioritize, like, taking care of you, making sure you're good. Prioritize listening to you, because shit, people are gonna make sure that you feel like you're not listened to, type shit.
Yeah, then she said they're gonna make sure.
Yeah.
It's cutthroat.
It's cutthroat as hell, but you just gotta find it in yourself at the end of every day. Keep it pushing. If this is what you want, you have to keep it pushing.
Yes, exactly.
Leave your emotions out of it.
Yeah.
Be consistent. Keep building these relationships. And yeah, it's gonna be moments where, you know, you're feeling very discouraged.
Facts.
And powerless.
Yeah.
But there's more days to come. You know, meaning there's more spaces that you can occupy where you can freely feel like you can exercise those things that are good for you, you know, with people that are gonna respect that shit.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And I can relate to the emotional thing, because I'm a Pisces, so I'm very, very sensitive.
Y'all Pisces is emotional, and you guys are all about the family unit.
I mean,
my pops was a Pisces.
Yeah. I mean, so I've grown up being very sensitive. You know, as a kid, I got teased. I was always chubbier. You know, until I started playing football and having to lose weight, things like that. So that stuff would hurt my feelings. You know what I'm saying? And
you're human.
Yeah. No, but see, I think. I don't know. See, people really not big on the whole, what's that thing? The horoscope thing or whatever, the zodiac thing, right? But I'm like, I mean, as sensitive as I am, this has to be true. Like, I mean, goodness gracious. So I've had to learn to just allow the fact that they're talking about me. Like, I gotta love me at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? If I don't love me, then nobody else will. And obviously, I'm gonna just let your opinion destroy me at all costs.
Yeah, you really have to quiet everybody else's voice and really prioritize your voice. And the only way to prioritize your voice is to be able to recognize it.
Facts.
A lot of people be out here not recognizing their own voice, you know?
And that leaves them unhappy.
Exactly.
Because for such a long time, before I started doing what I do, like shooting my videos the way that I shoot them, I wanted to be like on a concert stage. I wanted to be involved with, you know what I'm saying, like in the industry, but I always would tell myself, nah, ain't nobody gonna support you, or nah, you can't do it. No, you don't even look good enough. Things like that. And so through that, it stopped me from chasing my dream for a long time, until I finally said, you know what? I love me. You can do it. You know what I'm saying? I had to turn my own voice on.
And some days you wake up and you're discouraged because this shit takes a long time. And then that makes you second guess the fact that you even chose this in the first place, you know?
Facts.
You just gotta keep it pushing.
Yeah,
there's a season for everything. And as long as you keep it pushing, like, you're gonna taste the fruit of your labor.
Yeah, facts. And also I can say, I had a lot of people telling me they were proud of me, right? And when I got a truck driving job with a young dude, we got me and my fiance got an apartment, we got cars, we not, you know. And so they're like, I'm proud of you. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And that's when I realized, no matter what people say, or regardless whether they're proud of you or whether they're talking down on you, what really matters is how you feel, because you're proud of me, but I'm not proud of me because I'm not doing what I believe in.
Right. When someone tells you you're proud of you, but you don't feel proud of yourself, or you feel like, what's there to be proud of? You can't you can't resonate with that voice.
You gotta go for what you
gotta
believe
feel
in.
it in you first,
Right,
so you can resonate with
Right.
people trying to speak the same language.
Right. And so, like I said, I didn't become proud of myself until I turned the negativity off and I said, you have to do what you believe in. Once I started doing what I believe in, I started like, man, I feel good doing this. This makes me happy. I might look stupid to them, but whatever, I feel good. You know, so I think that's what a lot of people got to understand. It doesn't matter if people like you or not. It's about you, valuing you at the end of the day. That's what's going to lead you to your ultimate happiness. On the real, like I promise you that.
That's factual.
So now we got to talk about my boy Lonje 2K. If y'all have not paid attention to Lonje 2K, y'all better pay attention. Go listen to Paxton in the Rental right now. Video is running up as we speak. And you manage Lonje 2K. How has that experience been for you?
It's been good. He's a very hard worker. He's someone who's faced major adversity in his own life as well.
Yeah.
I feel like his voice is really valuable to people around him. Yeah, his influence is heavy in his hood, and I feel like he just has so much more that's coming for him, you know? And yeah, he deserves everything, really.
One thing I think that you have an eye for is seeing someone's growth and seeing their potential. So what is something, when did you realize that Lonje was such an amazing person and had this actual influence?
So before I started managing him, we had planned to meet in the studio and to talk. So we met, I think it was somewhere in Hollywood or North Hollywood at one of his homie studios, and he was just telling me like his story, like what he's been through the past couple of years, the people he's dealt with, trying to, you know, get the shit pushing for himself, and just the way that he talked about himself and his life, and just his responses to his situations. You know, someone's thought process, someone could say anything that'll make you think anything about them, you know, but really like it's their responses and how they respond to the things in their lives that will like shine a light on who they really are. Yeah, after that conversation with him, like I just feel like, you know, everybody goes through shit in their lives, but he had a lot of hope, and hope isn't something that everybody has, you know? And I really felt like, okay, even if I don't manage him, like I really want to help him. Like if I can't do it, then I for sure know people that can help him get done what he needs to get done. So it was really just about wanting to help him, like with anything he needed help with.
I feel that, yeah.
And then he ended up just entrusting me to be his manager, and so.
And that
that's
was
where it started.
Now becoming his manager was a lot easier than the whole Blue Bus Clan situation, because
for
by
sure.
now you're polished.
Yeah.
And you already know what to do.
For sure.
So it all makes sense. You know, the process all makes sense. And you know, the thing about life is sometimes we just have to do those things that we're uncomfortable with. You know what I'm saying? So that we can develop the skill and the know and the wherewithal for that really big moment and that purpose.
You always need people around you that will remind you of who you are and what you're capable of.
Yeah, facts.
It's so easy going through real life shit every day and being in your head every day. Like it's so easy to forget who you are sometimes. So easy. And so like the relationships that you build with other people and your teammates, like make sure you got people on your team that when you can't remind yourself, like they're able to remind you, like, hey, you're this type of person. Facts. You're here this far down the way because you're able to build these relationships.
Facts.
Yeah.
And especially when you sort of like what you were saying, when you got stuff going on in your just regular life, aside from the business aspect, but when you get around the business, like you said, people begin to lose themselves because they got to kind of like turn that off, and it's business time. I can't carry the emotions over to business. I can't carry the fact that I just had an argument with so-and-so and I got to come to this show now. I can't carry that energy. You know, I got to kind of like just phase it off. So What is some advice that you would give to someone who's walking in your shoes, who doesn't have the experience yet? And like you said, maybe it's taking a long time for them and they're getting discouraged now. What's some of the advice that you would give them?
Turn the emotions off when it comes to business. Like, don't turn them all the way off completely forever because you're gonna
have
need,
them. Yeah, you're gonna have
it's
them.
impossible, you know, to be without them. But you need to know how to channel it, where to channel it to, and just have good people on your team. Honestly, I wouldn't be where the fuck I am without any of the teams that I've been a part of. And I never thought that I would do anything that I'm doing right now. Sure as hell didn't. But it's all about like the people you have around you. When I say team, I mean like your family unit, your business team, your friends that you keep around you. Like, always surround yourself with people that aren't afraid to challenge you, and around people that know how to remind you of who you are when it gets hard for you to remind yourself.
Facts.
Yeah.
Agreed. Now, Christymac, I gotta ask you, what do you clap it up for when you just think about everything you've been through in life and sitting in the seat, standing where you are today? I know, you know what? I told the homegirl to clap in the beginning. She can't clap. I tripped out. I realized it like she can't even clap. I tripping. But
I'll clap like this.
But yeah, so what is that for you?
I think just not giving up. I mean, it's been so many points of my life, not even just in my career, but in my life where I just wanted to up and end this shit. Like, this shit gets hard, it gets draining, it gets exhausting, and life doesn't get easier. It just gets harder and harder as you grow up, you know? But that's why it's so important to have people around you, good people around you. But yeah, it's been so many points in my life where I just wanted not to go any further. Honestly, like, the shit that you go through in life and with work, like, this shit gets really heavy on your shoulders, you know? It gets really easy just to decide, like, okay.
Just to quit.
Yeah, exactly. But the fact that I didn't quit, even if I didn't have anything to show for shit at the end of the day, the fact that I don't quit, like, that would be enough for me. And I don't know. I mean, it's not, I say it's gonna be enough for me, but it obviously wouldn't, or else I wouldn't keep having these goals to meet, you know? But I think it's really important, is what I'm trying to say, to feel proud of yourself for not giving up. Like, to transfer the weight of the pressure from your shoulders into just like feeling proud of yourself for keeping it going. I feel like
people don't acknowledge that enough.
Exactly. I feel like people wake up every day depressed as fuck, and they don't even know how to feel proud of themselves that they woke up, you know? I feel like we just need to honor ourselves and be kind to ourselves. It's been dark times in my life where I was not kind to myself. I made it so hard on myself, you know? But I feel like through it all, through everything, I never stopped growing, never stopped challenging myself. And because I was so hard on myself, I think that's the reason why I was able to become the best me today. Because of that, I am able to be the best friend to all my friends, the best daughter to my parents, the best sister that I can be, you know? Like, I always try to show up for people in their lives, whether it's for an artist in their career, whether it's for my mom, you know? I always try to show up because I know that people have showed up for me, you know?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And ladies and gentlemen, that right there is what Clap It Up is all about. It's all about you. So man, we just chopped game with my homegirl Christymac, And man, I got to learn a lot more about Christymac today, and I'm sure that you have if you watched this full video. Once again, y'all make sure y'all tap in with 408 Studios. Shout out Kes22, shout out Christymac, shout out Rosecrans Vic, y'all. We out.